Well, hello, friends. It's after a long time we are back live, and we have one new guest with us. So it's Devtonu, and he's someone who avidly follows English cricket and is a great fan of Ben Stokes, much like me. And probably that's the reason we have been discussing all night yesterday after that news broke out and that madness from England last hour and today morning. So something that shook both of us really hard, and I think quite a few cricket fans also across the globe. Probably this news wasn't something which people were looking forward to, but it has happened, and it's something people will take a bit of time to get used to. So Ben Stokes, the premier all-rounder from England, one of the best in our generation, probably has decided to hang up his boots from all formats of international cricket. Well, as he said, reasons can wait. So definitely a lot of speculations on what those reasons were those reasons something related to what transpired over the last couple of weeks with ECB and the management after that incident in London? Well, that's something which can wait, as Stokes said, but definitely the appreciation of the legacy that he has left behind shouldn't wait, to be very honest. So we have Ritik and Devtanu with us, and I would like to start with Devtanu only since he is new to our channel. So your thoughts on this decision from Ben Stokes all of a sudden, I mean, in the middle of a decider match Sunday afternoon, all of a sudden he drops the bomb that it's time for me. Your thoughts and feeling on this decision?
Pretty emotional at this moment because all the emotions regarding English cricket and being a fan of England, it's surrounded among 3 or 4 players mainly who actually inspired us to support England or follow English cricket. Because apart from whoever in our country, in India, whoever supports some other team is mostly Australia. But due to this generation of English cricketer under Owen Morgan, that is Butler, Johnny Bairstow, Jason Roy, Ben Stokes,
Joe Root
we
also.
started, Joe Root, we started loving English cricket mainly due to them. And Stokes, being the pioneer of it, he has taken the central stage more often than not. Many of the names I took, because all of the success that we witnessed was due to Ben Stokes. And more than the success, statistics and everything, we in Ben Stokes we could see someone who always used to put his body on line for any match. Whenever the occasion rises, whenever the chips are down, one player you can look up to is Ben Stokes. And it's very hard for any cricket team fan to go past Ben Stokes of our generation mainly. Because look, we haven't seen Ian Botham, and we haven't seen Imran Khan, Kapil Dev, and all of those. We hardly have seen Andrew Flintoff in his peak. So for us, a pace bowling all-rounder is none other than Ben Stokes. Because the amount of workload he used to take for England, and I mean, that's rare in world cricket, that quantity of 7,000 run and 250 plus wickets. Look, in this data-driven era, we always go for datas, always go for numbers. But if you genuinely love cricket and if you keep aside the datas, the one player whom you will love to see on the field is Ben Stokes. And there is hardly anyone in world cricket as charismatic as Ben Stokes, and it's a very emotional moment for me. I haven't really sunk in the decision of him from last day, and I have more like England have lost a home series, and that's a painful thing. But the way Ben Stokes is living, I can't
Sorry
really
for
assess
interrupting
it.
you, and that has left a mark in Stokes' career. His first home test series loss as a player.
Yeah, and that's really he has left in a very negative note, or very it shouldn't have happened. But still, if we consider it, in this series also, the 2 matches he has captained, we have made it 1-1. It's not like that England have made it 1-1. In Lords, in the second test, he was not the captain. So we can say that it's 1-1 under Ben Stokes in this series as well. So
Yeah, but again, I
yeah,
mean, as you said, it's not the numbers which defines Ben Stokes. Numbers, you will get 10 other players maybe who
and
have better numbers than this
and
guy.
most of the In cricket, most of the great players, their performance shows in their number. But if you really see someone like, I can remember is Yuvraj Singh, who had that kind of impact. The numbers are pretty ordinary, but the impact he possessed, but the impact he gave to Indian team is similar to what Ben Stokes did, and Ben Stokes did it in the greatest format of the game. So he's actually
Yes.
an absolute goat, an absolute legend.
Yeah, and this is someone who left all the lucrative IPL deals and all the T20 leagues across the world. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
the people these days are chasing across the T20 leagues, all those $1 million contracts. And who
Yes,
wants to
yes.
bowl in the heat 20 overs a day when you can earn $1 million just bowling 4 overs
Yeah,
and
exactly.
batting to 30, 40 balls, getting 100 out on those flat roads across the globe? But this is a man who
Yes.
left white ball at his peak, who left IPL contracts at his peak and gave it his all in Test cricket. I mean, you just need to watch probably 2 months of English cricket from July 2019 to August 2019, and that will itself
Absolutely.
make you Ben Stokes fan. In that regards, I would like to move to Ritik also. I mean, he's someone who with whom also I've discussed a lot about Stokes in the past. So, his thoughts on this decision.
Yeah, I mean, the points you were making that Ben Stokes is never that kind of guy who runs after those stats or those big numbers, as you call it. I mean, you can have better players. I mean, there are players, you have Joe Root, you have Alistair Cook, or maybe if even if you look at the great bowlers, you have Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, who are at the top of the so-called like the leading wicket takers or leading run scorers. But I mean, when it comes to impact, and again, like specifically if I talk about ODI cricket and the T20 cricket, I mean, his contribution, you remember that he was the man who was the last man standing when they won the
Yes.
ODI World Cup, and also he took them to victory in the T20 World Cup. So he has been that one consistent man who has been present in all their important moments. So yeah, I mean, Ben Stokes to England cricket is something that just can't be portrayed in numbers. I mean, it's completely different, and his charisma will live on forever. So yeah, that's my take.
Probably the best flat pitch bowler. Even when nothing is happening, somewhere down the line, Ben Stokes, if you give the ball to Ben Stokes, he will produce something, and he has done it
Yeah, yeah.
time and time again. I mean, countless times.
Yeah, Ben Stokes, he had that quality. I mean, often we used to say that he's the man with the golden arm. I mean, whenever you need to break a partnership, just give him the ball and he does some sort of magic. I mean, yeah. So definitely that X factor, that thing that he had in him. I mean, many say that similar to something that Ian Botham possessed. So yeah, like definitely, I would say that Test cricket won't be the same again. I mean, after Stokes retires. So yeah,
Absolutely.
and all the best to him for his second innings.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and the biggest thing about Stokes is he never let this team down. I mean, even this match, if I take the example, 317 in the first innings when Tommy Latham and Devon Conway were putting on those runs. At one point, the crowd went silent. Everyone went silent, but this was a man who was still believing, and he just picked up those wickets in that sensational spell on day two morning in that heat, and he kept on bowling despite he never thought of putting his body on the line or something. Many a times this has backfired against him, like the last in India series when he missed out the last match. But that was because he knew he had an young inexperienced bowling attack, and he had to take enough roles and responsibilities, and he never shied away from responsibilities. I remember one West Indies match in 2020, I feel he was captaining probably that match, or maybe not, I'm not sure. But that match, he bowled one ball and he was drilled down the ground. And after bowling a 10 over spell, he on his own bowling, he himself ran straight to the long off boundary to get that ball and stop the boundary. When West Indies
Yeah,
weren't even in the view of winning the match, he could have easily let that go for four. Two more runs wouldn't have mattered hugely in the context of the game. But this was a man who always put his line on the body. Without He was
yes,
never ready to play without any commitment for England. It was never about just booking that place for money or whatever for stats. He
yes, yes,
played because he
absolutely.
enjoyed the game. So yeah, I
Yes.
mean, in that context, would like to ask both of you about your favorite memories of Stokes. Maybe a couple of memories if you can recollect. So we'll start with Deptonu.
It's hard to look past that Edgbaston knock in 2019, because that was something else. I mean, the aura, that the atmosphere, the the crowd and the occasion, it couldn't get bigger than that. Yeah, 2019 World Cup was there, but that innings, I mean, that innings was supported by some other
Yes,
players as well, like Butler
yes,
and others.
yeah.
But the 2029 innings was like a lone-handed. I mean, if lone-handed word can be can define cricket, and that we should give the example of that 2019 innings. So I think that will be my favorite moment. And another innings that he played, that was like the famous last Ashes in England, where Johnny Bairstow got that famous run out by Carey,
Yeah,
and in that
against the
match
Lords.
also, I mean, that innings somehow changed the momentum. Yeah, England lost that match, but that innings changed the momentum of the series, and England never looked back from there. After that innings, all the three matches, England were in a won two,
Yeah,
and another
yeah.
one,
Even in the third
they
match,
were,
he got a
yeah,
80, I
third,
think.
yeah. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Lord's innings
Yeah, yeah, I
in
know.
the,
Bairstow
yeah, in
got
this
run out,
answer.
and that probably triggered something in him, and all of a sudden he was just blocking
And
balls, playing a normal
I
test
was
inning. All of a sudden he went berserk.
Yes, and I was like, all the Australian players were on the leg side, and still they couldn't really stop him from whacking those sixes.
Yeah, ended
I
up
mean,
scoring 152 or something, I think.
yeah, and when he started playing, we never thought that it would come close. And for a moment, and then we started thinking that he can do that Edgbaston one again. And that's I mean, getting close to that position is really twice in life. It's incredible. I mean, that defines Ben Stokes. The stakes are high. The occasion is so much rich, and he actually steps up. And this is incredible.
Yeah, Ben Stokes is
I think
someone who writes his own scripts, as it was being said in the commentary also yesterday. Just
another
when the
another
announcement
moment,
came,
Shaptushi,
retirement.
another moment. This happened. This happened in the last India home series, where he bowled probably 9 or 10 overs on a trot, and Baz had to send Tim Saudi to
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
boundary line to make him stop. I mean, we could have never witnessed that thing if Ben Stokes was not there. I mean,
yeah. It was the
a
Lord's
man
game,
is
I
so
think.
much into the game, so much. The adrenaline rush was so high that he haven't really witnessed that he has bowled 10 or 12 overs on a trot. So I mean, on those pitches of that series were pretty much like highways. So in that pitch, the amount of bowling he done, and the amount of wickets he took, and the impact he left on that series is like unmatchable. And I think he was by number wise, I think he was better than Bumrah in that series as well.
Yeah, and so probably, I mean, Ben Stokes is someone who writes his own scripts. Yesterday, I mean, when the announcement came, I think right after that lunch break, and then all of a sudden, minutes later, he got that wicket, and the entire stadium was shouting on the top of their feet, and it was just that kind of a cinematic moment. So, moving on to Ritik and his favorite memories. I mean, maybe something apart from Headingley and that World Cup final, because that's something people always used to say. So, maybe something else if we can hear from you.
See, I mean, if you talk about one or two moments, you just can't look past that Headingley knock. I mean, uh, it's very hard actually to overlook that. But yeah, I mean, not exactly moment if you ask me, apart from those two. But I would say that the way he handled. I mean, I remember that England were like they found themselves in a very difficult position. I remember that when Joe Root was the captain and all the senior England guys, I mean the legends. I remember that. I mean, it was on air that David Garr had. I mean, interviewed Joe Root, and he was absolutely like, I mean, you could see the frustration of David Garr and all the England legends that what has happened to this English team. And from there on, the way Stokes took the responsibility, not just as a captain, but also as a player, and made sure that this England cricket team plays to its potential. And of course, that brilliant duo between him and the coach, Baz, which gave the term Baz ball. I mean, that sort of created a new, I would say, that sparked a new interest amongst the viewers in Test cricket, which was actually, I mean, a dying format. and thanks to the WTC rules as well, because the steps that were taken to revive Test cricket. So yeah, I mean, that baseball era that we saw, and which I think would still continue even when he leaves Test cricket. So I think that is that for me, rather than moments, would be some great contributions of Ben Stokes, the change that he brought about in the team, the mindset, the fearless approach when it comes to playing Test cricket, when it comes to uh, batting and making sure that just draws are no longer part of the game, and we either play for win. I mean, if we succeed, we win, or else we lose. But there's no point that we are playing to just to save ourselves. So yeah, that for me is like the brilliant mindset shift that happened under him.
Yeah, so definitely. I mean, for me, if I say Stokes, I would try to take some offbeat moments, maybe not offbeat, I would say, but something which people have forgotten probably. That one innings on his debut series in Perth, where there was a video you could insert a cell phone in that crack. It was that kind of a cracked wicket, Perth Waka. Back then it was Waka, not the Opta Stadium, which is now there. So the Waka, and it was Mitchell Johnson rampaging with that mustache and just terrorizing a lot of those English batters. And there was this kid who has just made his debut, come out from the under 19 and all. And he smashed 100 on that wicket in the fourth innings. Probably a trailer of what was about to come in the years to follow. And even he got a 5 for a 6 for, I don't exactly remember, but got a 5+ wicket haul in that Sydney Test match. Again, a flat, docile wicket where Australia piled on the runs, but this was a lad who never gave up the fight. So, I mean, that series itself provided a glimpse of what this guy can do. Another moment which I would like to remember is not for England, but also for in the IPL when he played his first season, that RPS season where he was the player of the tournament. But that
Wow.
one game against this Suresh Raina team, Gujarat Lions, where I think
Yeah.
RPS were 3 or 4 down early on, and he built a partnership with
Yeah.
MS. MS was struggling at the other end, but he just came and smashed 100 nonchalantly, chasing down that 160 odd total. Even if I
And
speak of his fielding moments, I mean,
and
there
that
were some
entire
special.
season, that entire season was like a dream for any player in a T20 tournament like IPL. With the bat,
Yes,
with the
surely.
ball, and he left for the playoffs, and RPSG couldn't win the tournament. But if he was there, I don't think that Mumbai had a chance in that final.
Yeah, surely. I mean, probably his absence was one of the reasons why RTS couldn't finish off their chase, though I would
Yeah,
still not try to give it as an excuse chasing 130. Anyways, that's not something which we should discuss at this point. But even some of his fielding moments, I mean, one fielding moment I remember was in that India series in 2024. When in the first match which England won in I think Hyderabad, he just picked up the ball and didn't even face the stumps, just flicked it back, and he got Ravindra Jadeja. And that was a turning point in that game. In England
yeah,
ended up winning that match after having a 190-run deficit in the first innings. Oli Pope played a sensational knock. Even that last match when he came out to bowl, I mean, he hadn't bowled for some 7-8 months, and he just came out to bowl trying to warm up a bit, and he got a set Rohit Sharma on
yes,
100 out in his first ball. I mean, this was a man who had magic written all over his hands. That catch to dismiss Andile Felukveo in the World Cup opener in 2019. I think Adil Rashid came on the
yeah,
ball and he played a slog sweep. All of a sudden, it was Ben Stokes who had leaped and taken that catch out of nowhere. I mean, that
yes, yes,
2019 World Cup itself was the Ben Stokes World Cup. Every time England needed someone, Ben Stokes was stepping up, be it in the field, be it with the ball, be it with the bat. You need to save a collapse, you need to go bang, bang, bang. Every time it was Ben Stokes here and there. Everywhere it was Ben Stokes, to be honest.
yes,
So, definitely, I mean, this is a man who England will miss a lot. I mean, it's a big shoe to fill in, and not a lot can fill it, to be very honest. I mean, um,
absolutely,
I think they miss a captain now. They miss one of the premier all-rounders, someone who can bowl on the flat wickets
yes.
over and over again. So definitely big shoes to fill in, and that's where the next question comes: who do you feel is the next guy to take England forward, the English Test team? Can Harry Brook become the captain? But will it be a big pressure on him? Already being the white balls captain in 2 formats, and now the Test captain, 3 format captaincy is not something everyone enjoys. Joe Root didn't have a very impressive record in his stint, so do you go back to him? Also, was the future of Baz, and with that madness which prevailed last day before the stumps, do you think Baz should hold some sort of accountability? Up to Devtanu for
I
that.
mean, a very, very difficult question. I think, yeah, we England don't have any other option than Harry Brook at this moment, I feel. Because getting back to Root doesn't make any sense. Root looked switch off in the turned off in that match against New Zealand in the second test. I didn't feel that Root was like controlling the game at all, and he has a failed record as captain. On the other hand, if we go to Harry Brook, if England goes to Harry Brook, then Harry Brook will be like a player who will be our main batsman, and another like he will be captain in T20, in ODI, and in Test cricket as well. Look at the
Too much work
scheduling.
pressure.
Today the series has ended, and England will be playing the first ODI in the first July.
First
And is that
T20.
possible for a? Is that possible? I mean, I heard Nasir Hussain and Athas talking about it, that for a coach it's difficult to turn off from the Test cricket to get to limited over in such a short while, and so it will be very difficult for captain. And Harry Brook, Jacob Bethel were batting with the white ball in today morning at the not the at the
Okay.
at the there's a Trent Bridge. So it's very difficult. I think it should be wrong to get to Harry Brook, but I'm scared that
But do
I'm
you have
afraid that
option? Do you
England
want to burden Joe
don't
Root
have.
more?
Yeah,
Do you really
I don't
want
want
to
Joe
burden Joe
Root
Root?
to burden, and getting back to Joe Root will be like getting backwards. And he is also at the twilight of his career. You cannot get to Joe Root now. Yeah, Jacob Bethel can be an option, but still Jacob Bethel has to cement his place, and he hasn't cemented his place in a proper way. They can get to Jacob Bethel, but I don't think I don't see they going past Harry Brook at this moment, because they don't have anyone, to be honest.
Yeah, Ritik, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, as you mentioned that going back to root would be just like I mean turning the clock back and all sorts of troubles. I mean you didn't come this far just to go back to your old ways, right? That doesn't simply doesn't make any sense. But yeah, again, the point he was making that apart from Harry Brook, actually it's really difficult to find some other player who can be trusted with this huge responsibility. And so yeah, I mean, I would say that it again will bring a sort of transition phase, like who should be handed over the captaincy duties, because
Yeah, it's not
Stokes'
easy.
shoes is not easy to fill, right? Those
And
big boots.
so
Yeah.
on top of that, England is a side which plays a lot of Test cricket. To be honest, this is not New Zealand or South Africa who plays just 2 match series.
Yes. Yes.
England,
Yeah.
in some years, they played 14, 15 Test matches a year in the Ashes years, or when they toured to India and all those big series. So then, for a kid, I mean, Harry Brook is just, I think, 25 or 26 years old at this point. For him to straight away captain 5 Test matches, and then all of a sudden switch his form to the ODIs, then the T20s. Who was the, by the way, I think till now, no one has captained England in all formats ever since the T20 format came up into 2007. I really can't recollect anyone who has captained them in all formats. Owen Morgan captained them for a long time in the white ball side. Joe Root did in the Test side. Cook, Strauss, but these guys didn't captain in the white ball. Cook was there in
Yeah.
ODI
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
some time, but he didn't play T20I.
See,
And then
Cook and
Butler,
Strauss back then T20 had not like come in the scene, so that was
yeah,
different job back then. Yeah.
yeah. So definitely, it's not a very easy task. But then again, that's where the question lies. I think at this point, apart from Brook and Root, they don't have any other options, and it's one
Yeah.
thing to look forward, one thing to look backward. So
But again, going back to root would be just looking backwards from here.
yeah,
No
if
point
Oli
Looking
Pope
to
had
backwards,
been
yeah.
there, could be Oli Pope, but I think Oli Pope's poor returns over the last 3-4 years has now got him snubbed from the team, and so there's no chance of him coming back. Jacob Bethel is still in that position where he's still trying to get the feel of international cricket. Not has not become consistent. Yeah, we have seen what he can do on the big stage, but again, there is still that question of consistency with Jacob Bethel. Ben Duckett and all those guys who are playing that, these are not characters whom you really want as a leader, to be very honest.
Jamie
So
Smith is also like shaking at this moment. His spot is also not cemented.
yeah, Jamie Smith. I mean, before that second match against India last year, and Jamie Smith since that match are two different personalities. To be very honest, today there was no pressure, and he got a 50 odd. But every time things are at stake,
That was required in the first innings, that kind of innings. That
Yeah.
could have deficient the lead.
Yeah, so he showed that he has got the skills, but it's the pressure which he's unable to take at this point, and
Yes.
that's the thing which he has to work upon. So this is again not a very aging side. Also, there's a lot of youngsters in this side. So
Exactly.
again, how do you approach? That's the question. Harry Brook will need to have a serious discussion with whoever the management is, and they need to get this sorted out. Also, I mean, before we think of pulling the curtains, so any comments on that last hour yesterday? So I mean, we were already speaking on that. So that last hour where all of a sudden Stokes came out, I agree, maybe a gamble to just see off the new ball, push the fields out, and do something different. But then Harry Brook coming and showing that I will do some more madness, some T10 madness, 21 of 8. He's just logging every ball is getting, playing some T10 shots. Even Joe Root coming and hitting every shot he has in the book. So what was that in the last hour with the series on the line? Was it emotion which overtook proactiveness?
Should I answer? The I really couldn't judge it. I mean, that looked like a, pardon my language, mind fucking batting. I mean, how can you bat like that? I mean, it's a test match. You have chased 350, 360s in the baseball era. So how can you go like that? I mean, there is, yeah, I could still understand with Stokes playing like that, but others, what happened? Why did you change the batting lineup? Why shouldn't Emilio Gay came immediately after Stokes got out? We were 50 for one, and we could have built on from there.
Yeah, and the
They
gamble
and
of
if
Stokes had worked already. You had got that
yeah, yeah,
partnership, and New Zealand were a couple of bowlers down. Willow Root was struggling with his injuries. Ben
yes,
Sears had a
yes,
finger fracture or something, and Nathan Smith and this guy Zach Fox had already done a lot of bowling, so these were tired legs,
yes.
and you couldn't take advantage of this. You had got a 50 runs partnership. You could have easily sent Emilio Gay, said go and bat calmly, even if we are 70 for one at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And then Ben Stokes was also defending this thing, saying we have already ticked off a large chunk of the runs when it wasn't even one third of the runs with four down. What was that madness?
I would,
Just didn't. And even
I
today
would
morning,
go.
Joe Root was feeling like he had never played in these conditions. He was hitting all the balls and he was in a hurry to something else.
I wouldn't take too much about Stokes' statement, that chunk of runs statement, but I think if it was all about emotions of Stokes going, then I think the coach should be accountable, because it was the coach's responsibility that to calm the nerves of the boys, that we have a series on the line, we have a match on the line, and you have to play like a test match. We have a test match to win, and all the emotions and everything can go. I mean, can rest for another day, because it was
Yes.
the coach's responsibility. And if you are backing that kind of a batting, then I think it should be the first one to go is Brendan McCullum. I mean, yesterday's batting, yesterday's last session is, you cannot defend that. I mean, it's a very very harsh return to the fans who are really English fan. We are the fans of England cricket. English cricket are there to see England cricket win. England cricket team win. They cannot. They are not there for Stokes or any other emotion. Yeah, we all are sad about Stokes, but you cannot let the match slip away like that. I mean, it was
Yeah,
a
I mean,
cakewalk for New Zealand. I mean, they had to just wait for the wickets. And I
yeah,
never
and
seen such a mindless batting from England, even in the baseball era. Baseball, I love baseball because it's positive cricket. It's if it's about not stopping to score run. It's not about stucking, but it's not about slogging. It was never about slogging. It was never about, the baseball was never about only slogging. And I can't understand Brooks'
yeah,
approach. I can't understand what happened to everyone
and
yesterday.
this is a team who
And
had
I
chased
think that,
down such totals in the past, so they have a feeling of how to do that. They know the calculation, and Harry Brook and
yes,
these players are naturally gifted players. So it's not that
yes,
if
yes.
they, I'm not telling them to play like a Cheteshwar Pujara or like a Rahul Dravid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even if you play your natural cricket, you can easily score at a 60, 70, 80 strike rates.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
you have got a 50 runs partnership. Chalo, I agree ki Stokes made a gamble because he was struggling down the order. So he thought, why not try and play some shots at the up top of the order? If we can get going, that's okay. But I mean, after that, that all the players getting catching that infection, that was something which really you can't justify. And then when today the match was gone, then these guys, Gus Atkinson and Jimmy Smith, were biding time out there, were playing. Gus Atkinson, I think, has played the most balls in this match. He played some 70 odd in the first inning, 70 odd in this innings. So what was the point then? Gus Atkinson could have gone and slogged the first ball, got out. Wouldn't have made much of a difference. So when the match was gone, all of a sudden you realize that now the match is gone. So let us now play some good cricket. And before it was just
No loss.
I mean, absolutely nonsensical thing. Winning and losing was never a question. 370, again, it's not something you could have easily chased. Even if you had played normal cricket, you could have ended up losing. England has lost chases, has won also. But if you're losing in this fashion, you are not even trying to win. You have given it up. So that's, I mean, probably disrespecting the purest format of the game. That's the harshest thing I can say. And probably, I mean, out of the trio of Robke, Baz, and Stokes, probably the guy who has done the least wrong is going the earliest. That's what I can say.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And Robke should ask for a proper. I mean, ECB should ask for a proper explanation. Should ask for a proper explanation that why that happened. I mean, if they cannot justify any answer, and then I think Brandon McCullum should go now.
Yeah, I think already McCullum's life is not fixed, and there were already questions after that Ashes series. So now with the T20 World Cup also gone, and this series also now gone, I don't see McCullum having a long future in the England camp. In fact, I would be very surprised if he continues his job till the 2027 ODI World Cup, which is the next IC tournament for this team, because there's a lot before that. If you remember, they have an Ashes, they have so many white ball series, and even their ODI qualification is at stake at this point. They lose to one or two more series badly, and they might end up playing the qualifiers, because they're, I think, some 7 or 8 in that rank table and points table, and a couple of more losses might even push them to the qualifiers, which will be another big black spot on McCullum's coaching career. So definitely life is not going to be easier for McCullum in the coming days, and same with England. So Ritik, if you want to add anything on this McCullum thing and the madness which prevailed last night before we decide to close it.
To be honest, I didn't follow this series as much, but yeah, I mean, I actually saw one of the videos wherein Stokes was addressing the room. When I say room, the dressing room, I mean to say, and he was like, okay, so no matter, it's not about me, whether I'm leaving or not, but I want you guys to like give your all in the last few moments, and the yeah, so that was his message. So I think, and that's exactly the opposite of what he tried to convey. That is what happened, that mindlessness prevailed, and it was like the players were in a hurry to celebrate the last moments with Ben Stokes after he was gone, instead of giving him a suitable farewell, which they should have like strived for, and exactly the opposite happened. So I don't know, like even after Stokes giving such a strong message that I
Yes.
saw, it was just the other way around, and that's I mean, that's the worst you could have done to someone who has served this team for so long, and in such a manner, who has always stood by his side and always helped them grip those clutch moments, always cash in those important moments. So yeah, it was really very sad to see. And the point you mentioned about Brendan McCullum, that so the saying goes, right, with great power comes great responsibility, and then there should be some sort of accountability. Like, you just can't keep taking such decisions, and then you are like, okay, so this happened and that happened. No, accountability needs to be there, and now in fact it needs to be even more now, the fact that this legend is retiring. Yeah,
Yeah, to be honest, nothing comes before your team's win, and that's the thing fans come to watch for. And to be honest, the farewell would
exactly.
have been sweeter if he had retired with a victory. So it's not about going and showing some flexing your
Yeah,
muscles.
yeah.
That's not the way you go about. So if you are prioritizing personal emotions and all those bondings over your team's interests, that's not something which fans pay their bucks for, or that's not something which fans sit in front of the television sets anticipating their team's victory. That's not something which fans are coming for. So Definitely
Yeah.
a great deal of questioning should happen on Baz McCullum and the entire management, whoever were okay with that madness. I mean, Ben Stokes is gone, so you can't have any control on him, but the others have to be accountable. This is not what defines English cricket, to be very honest. And these guys who did that madness last night are much better players than that. Harry Brook is a much better player than getting 21 of 8. Joe Root is a much better player than playing reverse scoops from the first ball onwards. So definitely there needs to be some sort of accountability. And the Pakistan series is now, I think, around 1.5 months away after this white ball series and the 100 and all those things. So looking forward to the Pakistan series, and probably a new era of English Test cricket will begin, which hopefully will be okay. So we have got one comment right at the close, and yeah, I mean, thanks for joining in, but I think it's a bit late since we are already almost over with our discussions.
We
But
would we would love to see Ben Stokes in this jersey. Yeah.
okay, so yeah, definitely. So I think next IPL auctions in the November, December month. So we'll look forward to one of the teams going after Ben Stokes and him putting the name, coming back after some 4 years. I think last year he played was 2023 in CSK. So would definitely love him coming back to CSK. But I think a few other teams will also have their eyes on him. Probably the likes of Mumbai, maybe even KKR can have, and he will enjoy those tracks also, because that's something with Stokes and the way he played yesterday. It showed that he still has got that game against pace. So
Definitely. There is no question about his
and
ability. I mean,
and his spin game definitely has gotten weaker over time. But I think with the kind of tracks that IPL dishes out in the last couple of years or so, with scores of 250 plus being scored in plenty, so his spin game won't be challenged that much like in a test game, and he can easily be
Yeah.
used as an opener. And also with that leadership group, and now with him not playing anymore for England, his fitness concerns and availability issues won't be much of a hindrance at this point of time. So definitely I think he will be coming back to the IPL. And with Stokes, who don't rule out a chance of a comeback, because he has done that in the past. Would be happy if he does that, particularly in next year's Ashes. But let's see. I mean, he will now have a go and spend some time with his family and all those things, and hopefully maybe some good thoughts prevail in his mind. And if
Yeah.
he has the fire in him, maybe we will see him one more time. But for now, it's don't be sad. It's over. Just enjoy because it happened. Adios, Ben
Yeah.
Stokes. So thanks to both of you for joining, and whoever watched this live. And we'll be back with more such discussions. For now, that's it. Cheers and goodbye, and thanks to all.
Thank
yeah.
you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Cheers.
Thank you for having us. Good night.
Yeah. Cheers. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yes.